What is going on, everybody, and a very happy Friday. We are live here on the Phaithful Phanatics show on the DSM-Media Twitter channel, as well as the DSM-Media Philadelphia YouTube channel. Do yourself a favor and make sure to check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button and then check out the link tree and head on right over to the DSM Philly YouTube channel specifically. Like, it is the best and only spot you can get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here with us. I'm one half of your host on this Friday, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Red October is officially upon us. Phillies, Dodgers, Sanchez, Ohtani. Game 1 tomorrow night, 6:38 at Citizens Bank Park. We're going to break down Game 1, our predictions for the series as a whole, and our predictions for the postseason as a whole, and see how we're feeling about our Fightins heading into the 2025 playoffs. Can they finally come home with that elusive World Series trophy? The Eagles are also heading into a tough battle, Scotty, against the Denver Broncos this Sunday. That undefeated record stays intact after coming away from Tampa Bay with a win. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, we'll have the pregame show Sunday morning, so we'll get way more in depth there. But we'll touch on it. We'll talk about the task at hand. But it's going to be a fun show, man. I cannot wait for tomorrow afternoon, for tomorrow night to come around, because it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a bloodbath at the bank, and we'll see how it shapes up. But we got some stuff to talk about today. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, my brother. And I love how you covered the overview there. There's a lot to get into. I'm not going to waste a ton of time here at the beginning before we dive into it. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think we're getting into the heart of the NFL season. Obviously, we're in Red October, so everything's about to get really serious for the Phillies and their fans. And I'm ready for it, man. It's always a good environment down at CBP. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. Obviously, Red October, Friday. I cannot complain, man. So let's dive right in. What do you want to start with, I guess, is the big question. Do you want to go in the order of events, or how do you want to go about this, man?
Yeah, we got to start with Game 1. We got to start with the most exciting action, because don't get me wrong, bro. It is an Eagles town. We all know this, but there's something different about this town when Red October comes around. And as much as I am looking forward to the Eagles taking on the Broncos Sunday, as much as I'm looking forward to an Eagles Thursday night game next week, it's Phillies right now. It's Phillies mode. For the few short weeks, they take over this time for me, and I couldn't be more excited. And we get the test that some people are scared of. Don't get me wrong. There's always a part of you when you see, could the Reds and Dodgers, I'd much rather play the Reds. It's the easier task. But nothing would be more sweet than on the road to winning our first World Series championship since 2008 than beating the defending champs with the league MVP leading off and starting Game 1 for them. One of the best teams, arguably the best team of the last half decade to decade in baseball, right? So that's where my mind goes first and foremost. The Phillies' home field advantage is humongous, man. And obviously, everyone has talked about it over the last couple of years, but it gets a little bit sour, right? When you talk about the 3 hours of hell ever since the World Series run in 2022. But, you had Game 6 and 7 here in the NLCS against the Diamondbacks, in which you folded and lost in 2023. You blew Game 1 after a Zach Wheeler dominant 8 innings or 7 innings start last year and lose to the Mets, and ultimately can never really rally from that and lose 2 in New York real quick. So as much as we love to talk about this home field advantage in the past, it hasn't always quite been there in the postseason when they need it the most. This year, it just feels different, though. They are 55-26 at home, Scotty, this year. 109-53 their last 2 years combined. That's the best in Major League Baseball. They're 18-5 in their last 23 at home. They're 24 of 32 in their last 32 home games going. So they are scorching hot. They are red hot heading into Red October at CBP, and I think that is going to play a huge role when it comes to this Dodgers team. Not because of Shohei Ohtani. I think the Phillies are quite honestly going to have problems with Shohei Ohtani. But I don't think Shohei Ohtani is going past 5 innings. Maybe he gets into the 6th, and then that's when things come alive. And as long as Christopher Sanchez deals, I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself with this preview here, but as long as he starts to deal, Scotty, and this team is in the ball game, then that's when that Dodgers bullpen has to come to play in this crowd, and we'll see how well they handle that moment and that pressure.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great starting point, man. Just kind of building up the scene for this. Obviously, this is something that people have been waiting for quite a while, since Shohei Ohtani made that move over to the LA Dodgers, and I think baseball fans in general are going to get rewarded. The reason I think this is such a special matchup, man, when you look at Bryce Harper and him being like one of the American heroes of baseball, like the American pastime, right? Bryce Harper is homemade. He's from the States. Like, that is our pride and joy, at least from my perspective. Obviously, I'm a Phillies fan, USA fan, whatever you want to call me. Bryce Harper is our pride and joy. He's the MVP. He's the one that has been able to do it from home here. Shohei Ohtani is that international phenom, like transcending generational. Bryce Harper's generational too. Don't get me twisted.
Right.
Shohei Ohtani, to give him the respect that he deserves as well, and him coming into this matchup, that's just the beginning of the stars list that just drops down from there. You got the Kyle Schwarbers, the Mookie Betts, and the list goes on, the pitching staffs across the board. It's just a matchup of stars. And I think we're blessed, as you mentioned, to have them coming into Philadelphia for these first 2 games, which leads me to my first question to you, my man. Let me save that one second. I did want to point out one thing that I love that Brandon Marsh said going into the postseason and into this series in general earlier this week. And he mentioned how the different dynamic of this season versus last season, and how you kind of started fast and slowed off at the end last season going into the postseason, where it's the opposite this time. They started a little slower this season, and they really picked it up and got red hot towards the end of the regular season this year. So they're going into the postseason with a much different vibe, a different energy. And I think that's astonishing when you think about Zach Wheeler being missing going into the postseason and playing at this level and having the level of confidence that this team has. You're playing without your number one ace. And we're not even, I don't know about you. I don't feel like we are, I don't feel like we're bothered by that as much as maybe we even should be. But I think when you look at what Sanchez, Suarez, and Jesus has been able to do this season to give us this confidence, it puts us where we are. How big is game 1 for you, my man? And the simple fact of winning and holding your fort down at home in game 1, how big is it?
So a lot here to unpack, right? So first things first, what you said before, just the star-studded lineups of both teams and the starting staffs of both teams. To me, I said this earlier, to Hembo, whoever wins this series is going on to win the World Series. I firmly believe that. I think these are the 2 best teams in baseball. Whoever comes out of here, this isn't, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's not a physical sport where 2 teams are going to go beat the hell out of each other for a week. And then, the next team that comes in fresh gets some
pressure and the stress and nerves.
Whoever comes out of this, to me, is getting to the World Series at minimum. And I think winning the World Series over whatever the American League has to offer. Yes, absolutely.
I'll stop you right there because that is a great point. Because if you're looking at both of these pitching stats or lineups, whatever, you can go vice versa each way. You look across from you, it's not going to get harder than this matchup.
No.
Like, it's not going to get tougher than Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, so on and so forth down that ladder. Ohtani, Mookie Betts, down, so on and so forth down that ladder. It's not going to get tougher. It's not going to get tougher when it comes to aces on a pitching staff either, man. So this is the pinnacle, it feels like, brother. I do agree.
I agree with you. And I'll get to the Bryce point in a little bit, but the question of how important is tomorrow night specifically, because even though we're going to break down the whole series, right, and talk about the postseason, we'll be alive Monday as well. So we'll get to talk about this game and see what they need to fix or keep doing if they win game 1. So we have a lot of time to discuss the series as a whole throughout next week. But game 1 is extremely important. Extremely, extremely, extremely important. Game 1 and game 3. Like, that, they're all extremely important. But we saw last year, man, like, obviously the goal is to go into LA 2-0. You want to keep home field advantage, right? And yes, baseball is a momentum sport. So last year you could have argued, well, the way they walked off and came from behind in game 2, that should have taken. No, the Phillies were just a dead fish at that point. They just didn't have the life. I know they fought, whatever, but the way they were deflated after game 1, you come out and you take care of business game 1. Yes, you want to, and in some ways need game 2. But it's just there's a different way of losing game 1 than there is game 2 in a 5-game series for my money. Yeah. And especially with this Dodgers team, because this was a Dodgers team that you mentioned not playing your best baseball coming in the postseason like the Phillies last year. The Dodgers have not been an excellent baseball team since the end of July, since the beginning of August. Yeah. And then they get that Red series. And it's almost like a SEC school in week 0 or week 1 of the college football season with their tune-up game, where they're a 36.5-point favorite, and they go and drop 72 on some poor low D1 team, right? Yeah. The Reds-Dodgers series, the scores ended a little closer, and that's going to be a very important talking point later on the show when it comes to the Dodgers bullpen. So we'll come back to that. But the Dodgers beat the shit out of the Reds, and that lineup in LA destroyed the Reds pitching, which is no joke. Like Hunter Green is good. I don't know why they took Lodolo out the way they did in game 2 or whatever, but
the way he was
neither here nor there. The Reds staff shouldn't have been the problem. The Dodgers destroyed them. So it's almost like, did that sleeping giant of the last 2 months wake up? And that's what I'm going to be looking into tomorrow, early on in this game. How does Christopher Sanchez handle this lineup the first time through, etc.? So it is extremely important, because you lose game 1, man, as the home team. Yeah. Now you are fighting for your life. The Dodgers are playing with house money game 2 at that point.
Yeah.
Both teams really want game 2 regardless. But if the Dodgers go on the road to CBP and win game 1 against the Phillies' best pitcher.
Yeah.
Now it's house money. They know they got 2 in LA coming back, right? So tomorrow night is as big as it gets in this postseason for the Phillies.
You gave me an idea. Just it made me interested in your thoughts here. Shohei Ohtani just as a pitcher.
Yeah.
How does that look versus Sanchez? Is Sanchez advantage? Is Ohtani advantage?
No,
you're going with Ohtani? Because the reason I say that, Ohtani goes what? 5-6 innings.
So maybe? That's the big thing with tomorrow night in this series as a whole. It's going to be which staffs can get you deeper into the ballgame, right? Ohtani overall, what you would try to think is a much better pitcher than Christopher Sanchez. Ohtani, when healthy, he's returning probably a top 5 pitcher in baseball, a top 6 pitcher in baseball. But with the year Christopher Sanchez has had, I mean, the dude's in the NL Cy Young race for a reason.
Makes it foggy, right? Like it makes it a foggy conversation.
So I want to say there's a mismatch for the Phillies in that sense, even though Ohtani, the last time we saw him, went 5 hitless innings, scoreless innings. The thing is, coming off of that surgery, it'll be interesting to see how he's feeling and what Dave Roberts decides to do. Now, Hembo said to me earlier, and he makes a good point, Shohei Ohtani is going to say when Shohei Ohtani is done tomorrow.
Fair.
That is not Dave Roberts is not marching out to that mound in the 5th or 6th inning and calling it quits for Shohei Ohtani. That's going to be a Ohtani situation. But we have not seen him go deep into ball games as of late. So if he only throws 5, even if the game's 0-0 or 1-0 or 1-1 into the 6th and 7th innings, that is advantage Phillies. As nerve-wracking as it's going to be, it is advantage Phillies. Martian with the first comment of the day, and it is a doozy. It's the craziest. It's the craziest comment I've gotten in a long time. I don't know about the Fightins, man. I'm all in only for the Eagles. Look, man, I'm all in on the Eagles too. But what's good with the Fightins? Shohei's disgusting. I mean, Shohei pumps close to 100, if not 100, throws a ridiculous slider. We played him in LA a couple weeks ago. We didn't have a hit through 5 innings. The Phillies looked lifeless. And then we got to that bullpen, which is a humongous X factor we're going to talk about. And that's the difference in these two teams. Because to pivot off of this guy, I know I'm rambling here, but Martian, tell me why you don't know about the Fightins. Like, I'm just
like, I'm
not even coming at you. I'm not like I'm not like that, but like, They finished with the second best record in baseball behind the Brewers for one game. They're hot going into the postseason. Like the matchup, I can understand. If you're afraid of the Dodgers, I get that. They're the defending champs. They have all this star power. Fair enough.
I feel you, Martin. I feel you. I think like we're no longer in the regular season anymore, man. Like it's time to put the nerves and like the fear of failing away.
Yeah.
We got to ride for the Phillies at this point. We're in Red October. Like there's no time for like fear of, expectations or fear of this juggernaut Dodgers team, if you want to look at them that way.
One inning at a time,
it's time to go, man. It's like being nervous, last year getting to the postseason. Yeah. No, when we got to the postseason for the Eagles last year going into that Super Bowl run, we said line that shit up, Marcia. Yeah. That's what we said. So let's do the same thing for the Phillies, man. Let's get confident. Let's get that confidence restored, man. Because I feel, and I get it, throughout the season, like of the 162 games, you have so many ups and downs. Hot streaks, cold streaks of wins and losses. Yeah. It's easy to get down and up during the regular season. But right now, it's time to get up, man. We earned this spot to bring the Dodgers into our house.
There you go, brother. There you go.
There we go. Fuck the Dodgers.
Come on.
There we go, Martian. That's what we want.
Now, let me put the hypotheticals away. Let me tell you why you should be confident going into this series. Again, it's all right to be nervous. You're nervous no matter who you're playing.
Because I'm nervous. Talk to me.
Right. Here's why. These two teams are so similar. The lineups are similar. When you want to talk about star power, top heavy, you want to talk about the Trey Turner, the Kyle Schwarber, the Bryce Harper, I'll match it with Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. Then you got a couple other guys that can be playmakers in there. Like you got a Teoscar Hernandez, a Tommy Edman in LA. Will Smith's hurt for LA. That's huge, by the way. As a right-handed bat against three lefties, who's arguably their fourth best hitter in that lineup. He won't be playing this series. And then you have guys that can mix it up like a Bader, like a JT, like a Bohm. He's hitting really well right now for the Phillies. Pitching-wise, even without Zach Wheeler, that's something else I wanted to go back to. 2 months ago, I thought we were dead.
Oh, we're done.
Like you can't lose a player of that caliber. You can't lose a player that talented and move forward on a steady road as if expectations haven't diverted a little bit. The way that Sanchez has pitched, he's a true number one right now. And the way that other guys have followed suit, they're just as good, as they've been in previous series in the past, pitching staff-wise.
Yeah.
Pitching staff-wise, Sanchez, Ranger, a Luzardo, right? You look at the Dodgers, Ohtani, Blake Snell, Yamamoto. The bullpen.
Yeah. That
is where this series is won. That is as simple as I can put it. And that's a scary thing to say because that could mean a lot of tie games or one-run games late in the game. And that is a fearful place to be with your stomach in knots. Don't get me wrong. But that's where this team has the advantage of all advantage against the Dodgers. This Dodgers bullpen, Scotty, it's not only an advantage, Phillies, they stink.
Yeah.
They are bad. You're looking at a Dodgers bullpen of a Blake Trinan who can be good, but has not been this season. You're looking at a 40-some-year-old Clayton Kershaw, who's one of the greatest the game has ever seen, coming out of a pen in CBP right now.
Yeah.
You're looking at a Rosai Sasaki, who was in near tears his first start this year in Major League Baseball, and he's going to come out of the pen in a close game in Citizens Bank Park. Tanner Scott, since coming over from the Dodgers, they paid him like 30, 40, 70 million. I don't know what bag they threw at this dude. He's awful. They can't trust him out there in the 8th or 9th inning. The Phillies have such an advantage in the bullpen, and they have starters. Christopher Sanchez, what Rangers done this year, Luzardo going 7. They have starters that can eliminate the bridge within their bullpen. Dude, playoff baseball is so different. You start to smell one sense of problem because one swing is the problem. Yeah. 2 outs, a walk, a single, and now one swing can get things out ahead. So you will see quicker leashes, quicker pulls in this sense. Not needing the Phillies to need bullpen pitchers in the 5th and 6th and just get to Strom and
Right.
Duran and like I know Kirk Rings right now, Tanner Banks, we'll see, but not needing like a Lou Trevino or Taiwan Walker to come out of the pen in the 5th inning. That's important. So the Phillies have such an advantage in the bullpen. That's where they win this series, man.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, man. But it does beg the question, like when you look at this series, and obviously we're going to get into predictions officially here soon, but do you view this as a pitching like battle? Like, do you think that it's going to be minimal runs scored with these two calibers of lineups, or do you think it's going to
Tomorrow? Yes.
tomorrow?
I
Okay,
don't
so
know about the
tomorrow
whole
specifically.
series. I don't know when you're looking at, Snell, who hasn't always had the greatest playoff success. I know he's very good against the Reds, but if you have Snell versus Luzardo or Snell versus whoever in LA
Yeah,
in game 4, whatever the case may be, then
because
you could see a 5-4, a 6-4 ball game in that sense. But tomorrow could be completely wrong, could be way off. One of these teams might get hot and start popping off a 3-run home run, a 2-run home run, whatever. But tomorrow I expect a low scoring game.
it's so interesting because I'm obviously looking back at the Dodgers series against the Reds, and I can't remember what the Reds team totals were set at going into those games, but I
Right.
mean the Reds ended with 5 in
Now,
game one,
this is a
10
fair
to
point.
5, and then it
This
was
is a
8
fair
to
point
4.
by Martian. It's all, what can the Phillies do in the 6th, 7th, 8th innings, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. And that's what I was alluding to earlier with that Red series. Like the scores showed to be a little closer than it was really through 5 or 6 innings because of how bad that Dodgers
Yeah.
bullpen is, bro. In game 1, the Dodgers got out to such a lead. I think it was like 8-2 or 10-2 or something. And all of a sudden it's 10-4 or 8-4 or something. And the Reds have bases loaded with 2 outs in the 8th inning. I mean, one swing of the bat, and this is a completely different ballgame. You can't mess around like that against this Phillies lineup if you're LA. You can't afford it.
It was actually 8-0 going into the 7th inning.
Okay.
And then the
Even
Reds
better.
scored 2 in the 7th and 3 in the 8th
And then had bases loaded in the 8th as well.
Yeah. So it is interesting. Yeah, I feel that, March. And like there's no way that he doesn't, right? Like, but it is Shohei, like, so you're gonna have limited opportunities, I guess. But first game in the bank, like
now,
it just feels like you always get a magical moment first game in the bank.
You will. And maybe it's not Kyle, maybe it's someone else. Maybe it's the guy that has been exceeding and living up to the highest of expectations since he was 17 years old. You could call him like the LeBron James of Major League Baseball.
I know where you're going.
That's the showman.
Yeah.
And that's MV3.
Yeah.
He hasn't had, Hembo said this to me earlier, and by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, that episode is dropping tonight at 7 p.m. with Paul Hembekides. He hasn't had the MV3 season, statistically wise, right? I think he's hitting, let me just get this right. He's hitting 261 this year at the plate, 27 home runs, 75 RBIs. It's not the 2021, 2022 Silver Slugger Bryce Harper we remember, right? Would you like to know what Bryce Harper has done in the playoffs since he's become a Philly?
Yeah,
Would you like
absolutely.
The numbers?
I would love to hear those.
In 34 playoff games, not in his career with the Nationals, 34 here in Philadelphia over this 3-year span, Bryce Harper has a 325 batting average, a 444 on-base percentage. I think he has over 100 walks. So that means, quite literally, he gets on base, walk or hit, 45% of the time in the postseason. Almost 1 out of 2 times he's on base. He has a 709 slugging percentage. That's home runs and extra base hits for those of you that don't know. That's a lot of big shots.
Yeah.
12 home runs, 24 RBIs with an 11.53 OPS, which is on base plus slugging. That is astronomical. Like that is, dare I say, Barry Bonds level OPS. That's what he does in the postseason, year in and year out. This team was lifeless in the postseason last year. Bryce Harper rips one off the brick barrier out in center field to put this team down 3-2 before Castellanos ties it up. He just delivers moment at their moment, the swing of his life to send us to the World Series in 22, the first inning home run in the World Series off of McCullers, the doubles against the Dodgers to tie the game after the Dodgers went up 4-0. Over and over and over and over, he delivers. Have faith in number 3, because I will tell you this right now. He will be the MVP of the National League Divisional Series. He will be the best player on the field, in the box, starting tomorrow.
Man, does he crank Ohtani? Does he crank Ohtani tomorrow? Like, is it like... I get chills thinking about it, like, because it's the moment that you're speaking of, man. It is. Like, that is the moment. Like, there's other moments there that could be built in, but if he comes out second at bat and cranks Ohtani tomorrow, maybe I'm using the wrong term.
You are. I was just gonna say you did say you get excited when he cranked Ohtani, so we have to have a discussion off air maybe, but yes. Dropping at 7 on this YouTube channel, so make sure to
Paul Himbakitis from ESPN, man.
Yeah. So pause, Scotty. But look, that's a lot of.
I meant to say it like that though. Like, crank Ohtani right off the fucking mouth. Yeah. Like, fuck out of here.
It's a lot of play, and rightfully so. Scotty, let me ask you, man, because you're throwing me the questions. Let me ask you.
Yeah, what's up?
Who are you looking for in this lineup to be a quote-unquote X factor, a series MVP possibly, versus the Dodgers?
X factor is such an interesting term, man. It really is. I think it's obviously easy to obviously point to Bryce Harper, and I feel like he is the guy. But there is another guy that I'm looking at, and it's not Kyle Schwarber, because obviously that would be the other guy that can answer the call at any time this postseason, anytime he wants. And maybe he's going to answer multiple calls this postseason, as he always does. And he's got the experience under his belt as well, man. He's the World Series champion on the roster, right? Trey Turner, man.
Ooh.
Returning to the lineup. Obviously, maybe it takes him, a few at-bats to get back into the swing of things. Maybe it takes a game to get back into the feel of it against the Dodgers of all teams. But I just have a feeling he's going to come back and prove his worth, man. And I think he's going to make his mark, as he always does. He is that connector piece, man. He is that guy that can get on base. He is that guy that makes the plays in the field. And I think this time it's not going to go underrated. I think Phillies fans are going to see these moments. I think they're going to appreciate having Trey back in the lineup and having him back out there. But when I look at this team, man, it goes Bryce Harper, it goes Kyle Schwarber, and then it goes Trey Turner. He is that next
I love it.
Star for me.
I love it.
So yeah, I'm looking for Trey Turner in this series. I get it, he's returning from injury, but he's going to have to answer the call
for sure
to do what we need to do.
For sure. I mean, look, yes, he is deservingly in that conversation, not only play wise, but money wise, right? And ever since we signed him following the World Series loss in 22, you and I talked about it from the moment he came over here, right? You mentioned that connector piece, that gap piece that gets this team over the hump, right?
Yeah.
Gets them another star. And
those are other players on the team
playoff moments, and he's had some moments, ever since the standing ovation and all that stuff. But you weren't getting, we didn't feel like we were getting all the value that we were seeking when we signed Trey Turner. You got that this year. Yeah. You got, like, first of all, NL batting champ, the only player to hit 300 plus in the league this year. He finished the season hitting 304. Obviously coming off that injury, but you got the best version of Trey Turner in a Phillies uniform this year. You got to somehow find a way to create that momentum back.
Yeah,
this postseason. You need that version of Trey Turner, especially against this Dodgers, man. So I absolutely love the pick. Martian is going with Brandon Marsh or Harrison Bader, one of the two outfielders. Bader seemingly locked into center field. I have no concerns about Topper doing anything with him. I will be interested to see if he platoons Marsh or not, and platoons both corner outfielders. But I love it. I'll throw one more out there, and it's someone that I lack having trust in, but he is going to be so important in the middle of this lineup, especially if you put him in the spot I would like to see Harrison Bader in. And that's Alec Boehm in the 4-hole.
Okay.
Now, Topper hasn't said that's where it's going, but he said a righty will hit 4th, and he mentioned how good of a bat Boehm's been swinging since returning from injury, and he has. But we know the roller coaster of Alec Boehm.
Yeah,
and the inning-ending double plays and the frustration mentally, which then creeps over into the field, into a throwing error, or into a glove error, and now the wheels are rolling, right?
Yeah.
Such a big piece, bro, because if he needs to keep swinging the bat if he is going to follow Bryce in the 3-hole. I talked about the on-base percentage that Bryce Harper's had in the postseason. That's a lot of intentional walks and pitching around walks.
Yeah.
The protection has to be there.
Yeah.
I prefer Harrison Bader in that spot for 2 reasons. Let me lay out a scenario for you. There's 1 out and Trey Turner gets on base. And then Kyle Schwarber strikes out. And then Bryce singles. And it's 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. Who would you rather have at the plate to rip a single into the hole or into the gap? Harrison Bader or Alec Boehm?
I'll go with the guy that just has amazing vibes.
I would go with Harrison Bader.
Confidence.
Add on to it.
That's what he's been able to do for the team since he got here. Yeah.
Correct. Add on to it the fact that I don't care if he's 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", whatever he is, he hits for more pop than Alec Boehm does as well. He hits for more power than Alec Boehm. So I would prefer to see Bader there. I'm okay if he's hitting like 5th or 6th and Boehm's in the 4-hole. I'm all right with it.
Boehm has to perform.
Boehm has to deliver. You cannot, because if it keeps coming up time and time again, where Boehm's up with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, and we're struggling to drive anyone in, that directly comes down to him in the 4-hole. So that is such an X factor in this series, bro. Please keep swinging the bat you're swinging, Alec.
No, I think that's a great point. I actually, as you were talking, I was wondering if you were going to go towards JT, Real Muto.
Listen,
that was the guy that came to my mind. But no, Boehm is a good nod.
Yeah, they're all so intriguing, man. Because I'll tell you this, it starts with the big thumpers. It starts with the money guys. It's Trey, it's Kyle, it's Bryce.
Yeah,
2 of those 3 have to be going, right?
Yeah.
It can't just be a one-man show. 2 of those 3 need to earn their paychecks. Hopefully, all 3 of them are playing good to dominant baseball this series and in the postseason. But then when you get past that, it only takes 1 or 2 of the others to make this offense reach a different level. We would love, obviously, if 1 through 8 or 1 through 9 is clicking and there's one guy that's struggling a bit. That's not likely. So if you get a JT Real Muto in the 7-hole that's swinging a hot bat, if you get a Bryson Stott who's working great at bats in the 9-hole and continuing to find ways on base and driving in runs, that's the difference maker within this series.
Yeah.
They're not going to win the series without the first 3 producing, but then it's going to take more. It's going to take someone else or 2 other guys to drive in runs to get on base this series.
That brings another question to my mind for you, my man.
I'm listening.
On the opposite end of things, the Dodgers. Who on that side of things, not named Ohtani, of course, like at the top of that lineup, who kind of worries you in that lineup? And one guy comes to mind for me, man, and it's obvious. I've just made a ton of money betting on this guy. No. Teo.
Oh, yeah.
Random fucking power in the middle of the lineup and just gets to cranking some nights. Like I don't know. Obviously, there's a ton of guys in that lineup that draw concerns for you, of course. But who's a guy that just kind of sticks out to you as a guy you have to shut down?
They have a few in the middle to back end this lineup where if they're hot, they become a problem because now they're turning the lineup back over. Teoscar's one of them. Now he's in the middle of the lineup. He's hitting like 4th or 5th on most nights. So that's not quite turning the lineup over. But you saw it in the Red Series. I mean, just continues to hit for power. Did he win the home run derby 2 years ago or came in second in it 2 years ago? I can't quite remember. That you say that. He's a stud at the plate especially when he's hot. So that's a worry, right? you saw the moments Freddie Freeman continued to have, but Freddie Freeman's on that star level of the Dodgers lineup, right?
Yeah, that top 3.
The lesser guys, like if people are like, oh, who's going to be a thorn in the Phillies side this
exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Tommy Edman and Andy Paez. If those two, because they both can hit for power, they both can hit for extra base hits, both drive in runs, they both have speed. Like if those two hitting anywhere from 6 to 9 are a problem, it makes that lineup so much more dangerous. I can live with Shohei hitting 2 home runs in a game.
Yeah.
If they're solo home runs and no one else is contributing too much. I can live with Teoscar popping 1 if it's a solo home run and no one else is contributing too much. But you get Pajes, you get Tommy Edman, it becomes a much more difficult task to take down the defending champs.
Yeah, and I see Edman. I think he cranked a home run and
he homered against us in the spring, like when we played them at home in the spring.
I was thinking the Reds series. He homered in that
he might
series.
Have as well. Yeah. No, but he hit like a 3-run
1
home run against us in the spring, like way in the right field. Like they're look, dude, they're a great team. That's why they're so similar to us. They're the defending champs. They just have so much depth in that lineup. Yeah. I will say the Phillies again are 4-2 against them this year.
Yeah.
And the last time they went into LA and took 2 or 3 and clinched the division a few weeks ago, that was with no Trey Turner, no Alec Boehm. I believe the one game Brandon Marsh didn't. Like, you're talking about Rafael Marchand hitting a go-ahead home run at the top of the 9th. You're talking about Otto Kemp making plays. You're talking about Weston Wilson hitting a game-tying home run in the middle of one of these games. Like that. So this wasn't a Phillies team. You weren't getting the best version of the Phillies beating the Dodgers in that series, and they still came away with wins. Jose says, with the pitching rotation set, who would you like to see first out of the bullpen when needed? All right, Jose, give me a scenario before I answer. Is this 2-1 ball game? Starter has to come out in the 6th, or does Sanchez throw 6 2/3 or 6 complete innings and we're into the depth of the bullpen? Like, tell me where I'm leaning here, because that's going to determine a lot. I was looking also, I don't know if the official roster, like, has the NLDS roster come out yet or no?
I don't think so, because that's what I was going to ask you. We know the Phillies pitching lineup, but I wasn't sure on the Dodgers. Has that been released?
No. So I know because they 1-2, they're Ohtani starting, but then I think it would just bounce back to Ohtani, Snell, Yamamoto, I would imagine.
Right.
All right, 7th inning, Phillies up by 2. So top of the 7th. I mean, obviously, I think some of it's going to depend on who's coming up left or right wise. If I had to just go by best pitcher. I'm leaning Banks or Strahm. Ideally, you would like to get 8 Strahm, 9 Duran, right? Like that would be the ideal world, right? You want to try to get to the latest innings with your best pitcher still. But let's just say like it's 2 lefties coming up in the 7th, and dude, in playoff baseball, you're just trying to get to the next inning. Like you have to look ahead and stuff, but you're trying to figure out, how do I win this inning? How do I get 3 outs here? So there's a reality where it could be Strahm. But Banks is also a lefty. I'll tell you what, man. Martian's terrified of him. Kirkering has to figure it out.
He has to be part of it. Yeah.
He has to, as the righty in the back end of that pen, he has to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about 2 lefties. Or is Strahm a righty? Well, am I tripping? Well, no, Strahm's a lefty.
Yeah. Strahm's a lefty, yeah.
Strahm's a lefty and Banks is a lefty. So that's what makes it a little more difficult. Like, are you just going to throw the better pitcher, the more confident pitcher, or are you looking for the matchup right on right, left on left? Yeah. NO6, 4-3 game, and we up. Who's pitching? Sanchez has been good after a rough first inning, and we just took the lead.
Whew. The scenario is funny. These are like realistic. I like it, Jose.
Oh man. See, but this is why when people love to jump on
that's
the
Martian.
manager.
My bad. I gave
Oh
credit to
yeah. Oh,
Jose.
this is
That's Martian.
yeah.
My
Great
bad.
point. I did not even. Yeah, that didn't even register to me.
Good scenarios, nonetheless.
This is why when people jump on the manager's back after something goes south out of the bullpen, it's not so simple, is it? Because, I mean, this is a hypothetical, and you and
Right.
I are struggling to be like, oh my god, where would I go? Now imagine
Good
being the
luck,
guy that has
Topper.
to pick up that phone to the bullpen and know what button to press in this moment. It ain't so simple, guys. But
Good
yes,
luck.
I would say this. The back end of the Phillies bullpen is going to be Duran in the ninth. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Do not be surprised if Duran throws 4 outs in the playoffs. Like, do not be 2 outs. Come get him. Duran gets the last out if it's a right on right, and then go out in the ninth again. Strom obviously has had a very solid year. Tanner Banks has also been very. Oh, I'm forgetting about David Robertson. David Robertson's a guy that could be in that scenario as well. So, I guess I would.
So the active roster hasn't been released yet?
I haven't seen it. No, on Twitter.
I haven't seen anything on Twitter.
I would assume it's going to be like tomorrow morning.
That would help a little bit with like knowing who's
right.
Because
a question you and I had discussed the other day, and I had mentioned it to Hembo in the interview. He believes that Aaron Nola is going to be on the NLDS roster, and he believes Aaron Nola is going to pitch in Los Angeles. Not as a starter, but not as a guy that's like going to pitch the game. Like he's saying he could see a plan where you're piggybacking Nola and someone else. Like Nola the first time through the order, Nola pitches 3 innings, go to someone else for 2 innings, 3 innings, and then turn it over to the bullpen. Scary, but
so he's thinking now. Is Walker going to be on the?
I would assume so because I think Taiwan, as scary as the thought could possibly be in like a tie ball game, is a guy that does have some bullpen experience.
He comes to mind when you say turn it over to another right? Like it would be Nola first inning, and then you turn it over to Walker maybe for 2 innings, and then you go to bullpen. That's so he's thinking like so. Himbo, that idea comes from like Game 4 in LA.
Yes. Yeah.
Game 3 was
no. Game three. So the thing he threw out, because the way the schedule's lined up, Sanchez would be ready to go Game 4 if it gets to a Game 4 from Game 1. So the logic he threw out was Nola, Ranger, piggyback, and Luzardo in Game 2 at home. Which I'm all for. I'm all for Luzardo Game 2, Ranger Game 3. I would much rather have the cool presence of Ranger on the road in Dodger Stadium and let Luzardo pitch in front of our crowd.
Okay. Yeah, all right. That's exactly what I was going to ask. Like, why piggyback Ranger instead of Luzardo was going to be my question. But I guess that makes sense.
But I don't like. I just wouldn't pick. Like, I think Ranger should have earned the trust and the respect to be a legitimate starter. Like, I don't think there's any need.
Why would he piggyback Nola? Yeah, like why would he not? And obviously Nola's not coming in after
Here's the only scenario where I can give you I would give you an Aaron Nola piggyback personally. My 3 in this series would be Sanchez, Luzardo, Ranger. And then Sanchez, and then, figure out Game 5 at the bank, what you're doing. Maybe then Ranger opens, but you have a short, you're just trying to win the game at that point. I don't know. The 7-game series, if we do get to the championship series and beyond, where you get to a Game 4 and you might need an extra starter, is where I could see Nola piggybacking with someone else.
Yeah,
like whatever, like a bullpen, like Nola gets through 4 and then the bullpen or whatever.
At the end of the day, we just don't know how Rob Thompson and this Phillies organization feels about Nola right now. We really don't know.
Agreed.
So we just don't know the type of leash they're going to be working with him and the type of respect that they might give to him to let him start one of these first 3 games, man. I do agree with you. I think at the end of the day, I would just go with my 3 starters and just see where we are after that point. Like, let's go Sanchez. If you want Luzardo at home, that's fine. And you want Ranger on the road in Game 3, that's fine. And then let's just see where we're at after 3 games, man, and go from there.
I agree.
But, And it's not even against Nola.
First of all, the young man has some years on me, Martian. Don't do me like that. He's a father of 3. All right. No. I reached out a couple years back when I first was starting podcasting, and he's a Philly sports fan. And asked him to come on. He came on. We met up at a Phillies tailgate for Game 3 again before the Braves back in 22. What the Strider game where Hoskins had the bat spike, hung out a little bit there, and then just have had him on over the last couple of years. Scotty's talked to him. We got to get. That's a great point, Martian. You're inspiring me to get back to our roots with some of these interviews because Scotty and I have had some banger of interviews.
We have, man. We had Mark Zumoff on here.
We interviewed Mark Zumoff. We've had a bunch of different, radio hosts and people in the city.
We've been taking on our viewers. That's our bad.
Tyron Johnson has been on the show a couple of times. John Marks has been on the show.
Yeah.
Hunter Brody came on one time with me and Ginn. Pat Egan.
It's crazy, actually.
We had Rob Motti on Turf Talk before. So we got to get back to our roots, man, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I agree, Jose. And I believe that's what they did last year when it came to the Mets series. I believe they moved Ranger to pitch Game 3 in New York or Game 4. I forget what game he ended up pitching in New York, but nonetheless, it didn't work out quite well. But yeah, man, I think all in all, it's definitely nerve-wracking as we get to this time of year, regardless if it was the Reds or the Dodgers. It being the juggernaut that has been the Dodgers for the past couple of years, as well as the defending champs, makes it all that more scary. But this team, as they have been all year, is a damn good team. They've beaten a lot of good teams. They're 4-2 head-to-head with this juggernaut this year. They have home field advantage. Let's get to it.
At the end of the day, like, as you're talking through all of that, it just reminds me, man, like, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, like, saying that I would rather have the Dodgers than the Reds, it sounds crazy. I know that. So it's like I'm not going that far. But it is different from previous postseasons where you're going against the Diamondbacks who, in the average or casual baseball fan's eyes, should have no chance at knocking the Phillies out of the postseason after the run the Phillies made the previous year. You get the last year, you have the Mets, they come in and they steal it from the Phillies. And it's like, we're not going into this feeling like this favorite at the end of the day. So there's no like extra pressure for that. And I think that is a good thing. You are not Goliath in this battle, and maybe nobody's Goliath. That's also fine. Right? Like, I think if you even just look at these teams evenly, yes. I think just having that stress of being an overwhelming like favorite or having the experience under your belt, like you should win this matchup. I just think not having that stink there is going to be a benefit for the Phillies this year. Going in, you just got to go out there and perform. Like you said, taking it inning by inning. Yeah. There's never going to be a point that creeps up on you, like where you're thinking like, oh my God, we're about to lose to the fucking Diamondbacks. Like we're going to look like fucking embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like there's never going to be that.
Yeah, there's not a team coming in here playing with house money. Put it that way.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm getting at there. But
and look, this team and these leaders have to be so tired of eating shit.
Yeah.
They have to. I think it was Jimmy Rollins I listened to earlier saying it, man. Like this team has drank sour champagne for the last 3 years, and they're looking for that sweet champagne. And you have a guy like Kyle Schwarber who's only been on winning teams. You have a guy in Trey Turner who won a World Series. You have a guy in Bryce Harper who is the player of this generation, who leaves Washington to spend 13 years here, and the season he leaves, the Nationals win a World Series title without him.
Yeah.
You have Duran being traded, Bader being traded from a poverty team like the Twins to competing for something special. This team's ready. That's all I can firmly believe. This team is as hungry as they've ever been. They know the pain of losing at every level in this playoff. it's time to go finish the job. I know Middleton said it last year, but it's time to go get that fucking trophy back. And I guess it's a good time before we transition to a little bit of Eagles talk, at least. I got the Phillies winning game 1 tomorrow, and I got the Phillies in 4. Only because I don't know that my stomach can handle a 5.
Yeah, I don't know how the Phillies are going to do it tomorrow. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know what they'll be able to accomplish against Ohtani. We'll just have to see. There's no way I'm picking against the Phillies at home in game 1 of the NLDS. Like I can't. So I'm going to go Phillies at home. I think at the end of the day, I don't mean to say that as if, the Dodgers should win. Like there's no way I can like logically. It's not like that. It's just that you have 2 great pitchers going at it. You have 2 great lineups going at it. One team is home, one team is not. I'm going to go with the home team in game 1. I'm going to give them the nod here. And I'm going to go Phillies in 5, man, just because it's like you said, the team that wins this will win the World Series. And so we need to get the most out of this series. I'm with you. I don't want my nerves. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel my stomach going into a game 5 against the Dodgers back home at CBP.
And it's my girl's birthday, and like it just let me not need to get into any of that. But Jose said, had the Dodgers even experienced the true meaning of Red October, it's going to be a great series. Yeah, they not in recent memory, and that's why this matchup is so longed for. But in all the way back in 2008 and 2009, which may I remind you resulted in back-to-back World Series appearances with 1 ring, the Dodgers experienced Red October here, and they lost both of those series. So, there's some history in the 21st century between these 2 teams. And then you look at recent memory. That's what I mean by like longed for this matchup. Like back in 2022, when we won the World Series run, the Padres upset them as the wild card team. So we got to play the Padres in the NLCS. Match, right? The year after that, the Diamondbacks upset the Dodgers. So we got to play the Diamondbacks in the NLCS. This past year, the Mets got us, who went on to play the Dodgers in the next series in the NLCS. So it's like these 2 teams who have arguably been the 2 best teams for the last 3 years in the NL have been waiting for this moment and haven't quite gotten there the last 3 years. And it's time to get there, man. So I am extremely, extremely nervous, but so excited for this moment. And I think the Phillies show up for it, dude.
Who you got winning the other series in the NL?
I'm going to go. It's a great question, man. The Brewers finished the year with the best record. Played great baseball all year long. I remember at one point, what did I send you? They were like 40-10 in a 50-game stretch or something crazy. I don't know. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of the winning the division and the time off versus the wild card, because that's the same boat we're in. And I'm not going to sit here and say, well, fuck it, the Phillies are going to win, but that's what's going to be tripping up the Brewers. Yeah. The Brewers had the Mets on the ropes last year. Got to the 9th inning, should have won it in 3. Pete Alonso homers. They choke at home in the wild card last year. It'll be interesting to see what they can do. You know what? You know what? I agree with Martian. Give me the Cubs. Give me the Cubs in an upset, man.
I kind of want the Brewers. Hey, let me not get ahead of myself. You got to take care of the Dodgers first.
Yeah.
It just feels like the Cubs are that, like, I don't know. They're like that Mets or that Diamond. I don't know. They have like that weird shit working with them with Chicago and shit.
We win and the Brewers advance, we don't have home field. We win and the Cubs advance, we get home field in a 7.
Fair. That's fair.
It's a very big difference. Pitching wise, I'd rather play the Cubs anyway, but no, it's going to be 2 great series. My overall playoff prediction is Phillies over Mariners, except once I saw the bracket and picked that mentally, I saw about 4 different people that cover baseball on like TikTok and Twitter post the same result, and I hate that. Like I hate the fact that the Phillies are like the cute pick this year. Like they're the fun pick. to win it all this year. Like, it's their time. Like, no, fuck that. Like, please pick against me.
Pick
like everyone that picked against the Eagles last year on that run, please pick against me. I don't want you all thinking we're gonna win.
Something I thought, not that it's wrong. Like, it's not wrong by any means. The Phillies are at home, but they're favored tomorrow, right? Like,
yeah, they're about. I've seen it bounce from I've seen it bounce from -120 to -130 since yesterday. So, they are slightly favored. Yeah, so
it's interesting.
That's the respect they're given, man. But Martian, we can pivot in the last. I don't know how much time we'll spend on it because obviously, like I said, we'll be live on the pregame show breaking down the game. But Martian's a little angry here because ESPN and Bussin' with the Boys crew, Will Compton and Taylor Lewan, keep saying the Eagles will lose and be exposed week after week.
As well.
I think both of them picked Denver on the panel this past week on Get Up. And it's just funny, man. I said this to you on Turf Talk, and I guess we can just kick off the segment here between the Eagles and the Broncos. I don't know who the fuck people think the Denver Broncos are. They're a good football team. Like I just keep seeing people say the Eagles can't overlook them. No, the Eagles shouldn't overlook anybody. They shouldn't overlook Spencer Rattler. They should not overlook Bryce Young and the Panthers. They should not be overlooking anyone week to week, right?
Yeah.
This is a Denver Broncos team coming in 2-2 with their 2 wins being against the Tennessee Titans in week 1 and Jake Browning and the Bengals this past week in Mile High on Monday Night Football.
They lost to the Colts.
They lost to the Colts and
Chargers.
Was it?
Right?
Yes, the Chargers. Yeah, was it? I think it was. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. So, yes, they have played 2 good teams. They have lost. They have played 2 bad teams. They have won. They're playing good football. That defense is legit. That defense is very, very good. We know what Pat Surtain is. Defense travels. Defense is very good. It'll be interesting to see how our offense, who has the question marks right now, plays it out against that defense. Bo Nix didn't start the year too great, coming off a very good week this past week. J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. Sean Payton, very good coach. Cortland Sutton, fine wide receiver. But it's like this. Yeah, it's like a fucking Decepticon is coming to Earth this week or something, bro. Like, the Eagles better watch out for the Broncos. They're playing great ball. They lost 2 straight before beating Jake fucking Browning. Like, what are you
to y'all's point about busting with the boys, I saw that shit as well. They're the ones that had Doug Peterson on. Am I tripping with that, or is that a different show?
They might have had them. Yeah, they probably had them on. I know
Barstool Boys. Is that Barstool? Am I?
They were on Barstool. They're now off by themselves.
Oh, okay. So no, this was
Barstool did have Doug on as well. So I don't know if both did or not.
Okay, so that's where I saw all the talk about like doubting the Eagles. So yeah, I guess I didn't see Will Compton and busting the boys, but I've heard it from you, of course, the last couple weeks. Even on Barstool, they're sitting there, they're saying like the Eagles haven't been that impressive. The Eagles haven't dominated anybody. They're winning games by the skin of their teeth. Dog, they have played 3 legitimate playoff contenders. 3, you could argue they're Super Bowl contenders. They have played the Dallas Cowboys, who are a direct rival, in week 1 of the fucking season, where everybody's figuring shit out. And they're just supposed to have dominated everybody that they've played. Like that shit doesn't make sense to me. Because nobody else has dominated anybody. Who else are you putting at the top? The Bills?
Correct.
That have played no one?
Not only that, Scotty, like, shouldn't that scare the shit out of you?
That we're not playing complete games and we're winning?
The defending champs, the team that has now won 20 of their last 21 football games, with the only loss there being when their quarterback got knocked out in the first quarter of a 14-0 game they were winning. That's the lone one in that scenario right there. They're beating this caliber of competition with not playing great football. With the offense having the struggles. They can't really run the football right now. Their offensive line continues to get beat up week to week. They're not throwing the football well, depending on the half they're playing in.
Yeah.
And they're 4-0, beating the competition you're alluding to. That should scare the fuck out of you if you are a team trying to beat the Eagles. So, like, this whole, they're not dominating it. What?
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I'm at right now. It's almost like it's not even about the Broncos to an extent. It's more just about in-house figuring shit out, being consistent, and getting this offense together, obviously. Being able to play 2 complete halves of a football game. I think that's the thing. Like, sure, you can want the Eagles to be better than what they have been, but you can also understand that where they're at right now is still better than the rest of the field. And that's pretty crazy.
Bro. Who else goes on a run like that? Who gets to win 20 of 21 straight football games?
I'll throw a few things to we can get out of here, man, because I don't want us to get too much into this, talking about the Broncos and beating them down and shit.
Can I just say one thing to you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
It would obviously kind of piss me off in a sense because it would make me question how or why is he doing this. But nothing, it'll just remind me of last year when people continued to question the passing game as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Not that Kevin Patullo shouldn't have questions right now because he should. But like the offense, like talent-wise as a whole, Jalen throwing the ball, I'm going to laugh when they come out and sling the rock against this defense.
I know, brother.
And AJ goes 8 for like 107 against Sertan or some shit. Like, I'm just going to laugh.
I know. It feels so typical that these situations come to, right? Last year it was the Steelers that Jalen had to go out and throw 300 passing yards against. There was 2 performances that the Denver Broncos had given up that stood out to me, and they were from the same game. It was that Colts game that they lost. Jonathan Taylor went off against the Denver Broncos, 6.6 yards per carry, 165 rushing yards in that week 2 matchup. Is this the week that we can finally get Saquon going? It's something that I'm looking at as well. Daniel Jones in that week 2 matchup, 23 of 34, 316 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, no turnovers against that Denver Broncos defense. So I raised those points to be said. This defense is great. It's good. They're number 1 in sacks, number 1 in QB hits so far this season. They're beatable at the end of the day. Daniel Jones can do it. Jonathan Taylor can fucking do it. The Eagles can fucking do it. It's not to guarantee a win by any means, but let's stop fucking fanaticking over the fucking defense of the Broncos, my dudes. Like, we got a pretty good fucking defense on our end as well. And Bo Nix has turned the ball over 4 or 5 times already this season. So let's just take a step back. Let's gather our confidence once again. Similar to the Phillies, you know what I mean? Let's put our belts on and get to work here. But I'm excited for the matchup. Ultimately, I think it presents good tests for us to be challenged in and ultimately pass.
Like what else am I going to hear? Like now the Broncos come to town and the Eagles win the game and they score 27 points against the defense. And let's just say they beat the Broncos like 27-17 or 27-20 or I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But they go to 5-0. Like, what am I going to hear next week? What am I going to hear this Monday when they go 5-0?
Only beat the Broncos by 1 score at home. Like, are the Broncos good or not? That's what we're going to ask after this week of football, I'm sure. The other thing I'll throw just to give the Broncos a little bit of fun going into Sunday when we do our pregame show. What does this defense look like against a fully mobile quarterback? That is something I'm interested to see. Bo Nix versus this defense.
Yeah.
We've done, quite honestly, I feel that our defense has done great.
Sure.
They've been put in some tough situations, some not, but I think they've been great so far. What do they look like against a truly dual threat quarterback like Bo Nix?
1,000%. Look, they gave up 20 against the Cowboys. That was all in the first half in week 1. They gave up 17 to the Chiefs in week 2. They gave up 26 against the Rams in week 3.
Yeah.
However, like you said, like being put in that, like, well, first of all, no, they did score. The defense gave it up, but like the fumble to start the second half on the hurt back, putting them
inside the 10-yard line. Yeah,
just the messed up kickoffs, and then we would go 3 and out and punt, and they'd have the ball at like the 40 or the 50, like just being put in inopportune situations. Then you get to the Bucks. Bucks scored 25. Really was 23 because of the safety to end the game from us, and then it was 2 big plays when the Bucks were down big. It was
2 70-yard plays, 2 70-yard passes,
and Bucky Irving catches down the side, like
Yeah,
you can't allow 2 70-plus yard plays in a week. You might not win every week when you do so, but it's just funny, man. Like I'm looking at their win so far, not just the talent, Scotty, but it's like, oh, the offense. And yeah, there's been some special teams mixed into it. Obviously, last weekend against the Rams, 33 and 31. That's what's next to the Eagles logo the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's what.
Yeah,
but they're struggling so badly. No. Like it's fun, man. I will say that. Like I'm not even frustrated by it anymore. I almost like it. I almost embrace it. So we'll see. We'll see what they say when the Eagles get to 5-0. But I will point that out. They will get to 5-0.
No, and I did like this comment as well. Like, yes, Mahomes, to be fair, is probably a dual threat. He just doesn't use his legs as much as you would imagine him to for a dual threat. Yeah. But he's also just the best quarterback, best passer in the NFL. So you got to give him a little bit more grace than you do Bo Nix. But that's no disrespect to Bo Nix. He's still played quality football first 2 seasons so far. Been a little bit of a rough start. We'll see what he's got, man.
By the way, before we get out of here, you like the new phone case?
Ooh,
that
sexy.
Nice, baby. Might break easily. I don't know. I got it off Amazon, but fuck the phone. I just wanted the case. Guys, that is going to wrap up this edition of the Phaithful Phanatics Show. We will be live Sunday on Turf Talk and then on the Eagles pregame. And, of course, Monday, talking Eagles, hopefully a victory Monday. Also, hopefully also a double victory Monday because the Phillies are up 1-0 against the Dodgers. For myself, for Scotty, have a great rest of your Friday and weekend. Peace out, everybody. Go Birds and go Phils.